For generations, owning a home was basically the ultimate symbol of the American dream, right? It meant stability, success, and a place to truly call your own. But lately, man, that dream feels like it's completely slipping out of reach. Today, we're unpacking the architecture of this modern housing crisis, diving into our source material to figure out exactly what is happening just beneath the surface of the real estate market.
Imagine this. It's a scenario you might know all too well. You work hard, you live totally within your means, and you faithfully tuck away a chunk of your paycheck every single month. Finally, you hit that magic savings number. You are ready to buy your dream home. But then, you actually look at the current listings. And boom, the price has literally doubled. That financial target you spent years and years aiming for, it didn't just move a few inches, it leaped miles down the field. You're running as fast as you can, saving as much as humanly possible, but the finish line just keeps sprinting away from you. It's like being stuck on a relentless financial treadmill.
So what gives? Why is buying a home becoming so punishingly difficult for millions of people? Well, to understand this, we kind of need to strip away the emotion and look at the brutal underlying mechanics of the economy. As our deep dive today outlines, there isn't just one single villain here. Instead, it's a combination of really powerful forces all working together against the buyer.
Let's start with the first major hurdle, which is this massive, growing divide between your wages and home prices.
When you dig into the numbers, the disconnect is just wild. Yes, wages have absolutely increased over time. You're very likely making more now than you were a decade ago. But when you compare that to property value growth, it's not even close. In so many markets across the country, home prices haven't just increased, they've surged, completely outpacing your paycheck. And think about it. If the cost of the thing you want to buy grows way faster than the money you're actually paid to buy it with, you are instantly at a severe disadvantage. Your real purchasing power is actually much weaker today.
Which brings us to the second massive factor, the hidden cost of borrowing. Because as it turns out, the price tag on the property is really only half the battle.
Think about how the mechanics of borrowing change absolutely everything. Say interest rates rise. Because the cost to borrow that money is suddenly higher, your monthly mortgage payment gets more expensive. Just let that sink in for a second. The house itself doesn't change. The physical bricks, the mortar, the lot size, it all stays exactly the same. But because interest rates go up, your monthly bill shoots up. And because your monthly bill is higher, banks look at your profile and suddenly decide you qualify for a much smaller loan. So your buying power literally shrinks right before your eyes, even if the house price hasn't budged an inch.
Okay, so let's shift away from the financing side for a minute and talk about the physical houses themselves. We're dealing with severely limited supply and a really fascinating bottleneck effect. I mean, basic economics tells us that when you have more people competing for fewer available homes, prices are going to rise. But there's a very specific, unique factor heavily restricting that supply right now.
Economists like to call this the mortgage lock-in effect. But honestly, it's basically a set of golden handcuffs. Millions of homeowners out there are sitting on incredibly low interest rates that they locked in years ago. If they sell their house today, they have to trade that historically low rate for today's much higher rate on their next home. So what do? Exactly. They stay put. And this widespread refusal to move completely chokes off the supply of available homes, making this shortage so much worse for new buyers.
Now you might be wondering, okay, well, why don't we just build our way out of this? It's a fair question, but you have to look at the current construction environment. Building a house today is massively more expensive than it used to be. The cost of labor, the physical land, the raw materials like wood and concrete, they've all absolutely spiked. And builders aren't just going to generously absorb those costs, right? They pass every single penny on to the buyer, which drives the baseline cost of new housing even higher.
So when you take a step back and look at everything we've uncovered from our source material today, the magnitude of this complex economic puzzle becomes incredibly clear. This affordability crisis isn't just a simple math equation. It's really a perfect storm of interlocking economic realities, all converging at exactly the same time.
To break it down simply, you've got your income growth, mortgage interest rates, housing supply, construction costs, and the unique quirks of your local market. Every single one of these gears is currently turning against the average homebuyer, and they're relentlessly pushing that final price tag higher and higher.
The text we're analyzing today actually hits the nail on the head with this idea. The housing market isn't driven by a single cause. There is literally no single villain to point a finger out here, and there's no single broken part that we can just swap out to magically fix everything. It's the cumulative result of supply, demand, financing costs, and broader economic conditions all interacting together at once.
Which brings us to the ultimate million-dollar question. Will homes ever become affordable again? Well, while economies are constantly evolving, the data makes one thing terrifyingly clear.
Until these interconnected gears of wages, rates, and supply fundamentally shift, the American dream is going to remain on backorder. Which leaves us with a pretty tough question to ponder. Is it time to redefine what the American dream actually looks like? Thanks for joining me to unpack all of this today, and I'll see you next time.